Out this door we venture to the Left Coast Flea. I have to say I'm pretty impressed with how the show is developing and how they're growing it. They're definitely conscious of the idea that, it's a new generation who wants certain types of things, and that there's got to be a wide variety of price points and ages and dealers, and that's what's going to make it fly. And it seems like it's really working. This is the outdoor area, and I want to show you this because this is what Laura Caldwell put together. This is the Left Coast Flea, and this is great because we used to always have outdoor dealers like this, and now all of a sudden we do again. Here's Laura's booth. She said that she was getting kind of raided, and you can tell because she's got a lot of holes on her tables that she has been very busy, which doesn't surprise me at all because of course we all know she's got awesome taste and great stuff, and there she is. Hey, hi. Now the gal to the left of Laura here, she came all the way from Denver. I mean, people are really starting to get excited. We used to have dealers who came this far to do this show, and it's starting to happen again, and I think that's just really neat. A lot of interesting studio pottery here. I like the glaze on this. I realize a lot of this is 1990s, but they know who they are, and some of these artists are definitely collectible now. It's nice when they have a nice signature we can read like that one. I like the Nemaji pieces, particularly the bell. That's a lot of fun, and that one is priced at $16. You just don't really see the bell, so I find that to be a rather good price for what it is. Mayan calendar decanter here. These pieces are pottery craft with the overlap glaze that Robert Maxwell first designed for them. $40 is a fair price on that, and I see they've got the canisters too. Indiana Saddle Horse Association, well, that's awfully close to somewhere I sell. And they have 85 on that horse trophy. That's pretty neat from 1935. Well, Nicole came all the way from Denver, and she's got some wonderful sandcast Navajo pieces and some lovely sterling and turquoise Navajo rings with coral. And there she is wearing a great impressive squash blossom. And says she's had a very good show and hopes to do it again, and I hope she does too. The Western stuff is expensive here because people here really love it. So there's the Jackson. Those are $75 each. So are these platters, 60s, 70s era out of various old restaurants. This one is $150. Now this was made for home use. This is Winchester 73 by Vernon Kilns. And they did do some hand painting embellishments over the transfer in those. But then if you're a modernist, you may prefer this piece because this is Francoma, believe it or not. And I think for $10, I might have to have that piece.
They are listed online, and it's hard to find a lot of information.
Yeah. Eagle Kachina by Kay Malik, and that's interesting. So there is an online collector following for this, and I have never seen a piece, so thank you for pointing that out. I'll have to look for her.
Particular plate anywhere.
Oh, I bet, yeah. Well, the dancers too, I mean, that's a more desirable thing, so I imagine they don't turn over as often. Very fair price on both the gumball machine and the Hamilton Beach mixer there. I think in general the prices are pretty good in this space, and they said that they did that on purpose because they are motivated to sell. $15 on this with the cool marble plastic. Yes, they did hang these on Christmas trees for votive candles back in the Victorian era, and yes, people's houses did burn to the ground. These folks have some pretty fun bottles too. I like this one. It's a dandy feeder. It's basically you can feed out of both ends. The banana shaped bottle is cute just because it's banana shaped. Here's an old Henry Weinhard's with the original porcelain stopper. That's neat to find. These are also pre-Prohibition era, and these are advertising for famous Albany beer. Here is celebrated hop gold for Star Brewery out of Portland. They did not survive the Prohibition. This one's a little later because this is from the World's Fair at the California building at the Golden Gate Exhibition of 1939. And this is a great collection here. All sorts of pre-Prohibition shot glasses, and they seem to be from all over the country, but of course local interest, the Portland Street Fair for the Elks, that was a big event that people here would remember. Here's a really fun set. They've got 55 on the teapot and 8 each, and this is Denby, which is what I suspected because it just had their look. You get to where you sort of just notice these things after a while. I just sold a whole set of this in the pink, and so I can tell you these prices are good because This particular pattern was made in the 70s and 80s. It's the gypsy pattern, and 55 on the coffee pot and 45 on the teapot are very good prices. I honestly got more for mine when I sold it, so I can vouch for them. They're being very fair about this stuff, and it's very collectible here in the Northwest, and I think in England as well. Here's a couple of their other patterns. Gypsy Minstrel, which is the same in the yellow, and then the Troubadour in the back. A really cool board for water skiing and a sled, because it's 95 degrees. Old carbine holders. These are nice and crusty and just actually perfect for what a lot of people who are using these in display want. $60 on the big dummy shell. Very good prices on some of this tableware. The Moroccan amethyst jar with the lid for only $10, and that great purple is a personal favorite of mine. Only $5 on the Spode egg. This is the Christmas tree pattern. That's actually a little bit older mark too. I believe this is a Lenox piece. Yes, there's the blue mark. It was made before 1953 if it's got the blue mark rather than the gold. The Prima Donna in Reno. Oh my, yes she is. And the Fabulous Flamingo, the original one from Las Vegas. So the flea market part really was quite large. She had a good turnout. I think she has a couple of dozen different vendors here. And the nice thing with the outdoor spaces is they may not be as expensive as a show booth, but you get more space. You have to deal with being outdoors. But if you can deal with being outdoors, well, there's some really great things to see out here and a lot of fun. Ooh, she's got to be hot in that outfit. Let's see what they want for their stamp machine. This one's a little later. It's priced at $150. It's going to be 1960s vintage. I love this bench. This would have held a vacuum cleaner originally. That's why it's got all those loops on top. That's what held the attachments. Now it is full of vintage ties. These people have all sorts of farm finds and farm junk and cool stuff that you can repurpose or just use in its crusty, cool original condition, like this great concrete owl for the garden. Hey everyone, I keep telling you the 80s are coming back, and look at this. These are all right out of that era. There is a lot of Hager, there's a few treasure craft pieces, there's a few 30s pieces like this Alamo pottery pitcher mixed in, and the Hager Madonna, which was done in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. But it is really fun to me to see this look coming because this is Deco Revival, it's big 80s, and it was based on 50s and 30s. So all of that stuff really displays well together, and we are going to see people collecting these items. You see we have a Nagel print, so again, the 80s are coming. If you're seeing it at flea markets, it's because people are starting to look into these things, starting to collect them, so just wait. Some nice Native American basketry here too. This seems to be, I believe, an Alaskan piece, priced at $250. The condition seems to be very good on these. This is Colony. This is in the Antigua line by Colony Glass, and this was the first thing Wayne Husted designed after he left Blanco. And then this one's Pendleton, and this has the Beaver State label for the robes and shawls. And this looks like 1980s with this, and the fact that it's double-sided and the bright colors. Hey,
hi,
here we
everybody.
are. Hi, everybody. We are having so much fun, and I am so glad that Laura did this outdoor stuff. It has made such an extra dimension to the show. A ton of people have come out here because they go right by my booth to get to that door. Thank you for that, too.
They were like, don't be offended, but I stopped by George first.
Oh, that's so funny because I had a whole bunch of people who said, well, I came to you right after I saw Laura.
Oh my gosh, whatever. Well, we are so happy. We had a wonderful time, and thank you to everybody who came out to see us.
Oh yeah, it's such an amazing group of people. Tons of people. I was so shocked how many people came. It's just
wait till you see
great.
the line coming in through the door. It was insane.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you got a picture of it. I
Yeah,
never
I'll
could
share
even leave
that
my
with you.
booth. Oh, awesome. These folks over here have a very groovy Smith Corona typewriter at $190. These folks have some neat compacts and things. Being outdoors can be tough on stuff though. Look how this is lifted. You have to be careful with rhinestones falling out of jewelry if they're glued in rather than prong set, so it can be a little rough merchandise wise, but I do really like seeing it out in the sun where you get the sparkle of it. And they have a nice selection here under the tent. We've had a ton of interest in jewelry at this show. That looks like it's a Singer featherweight, and it's really the small featherweight size. That is great. And how much is on that? Do you mind me asking? $350. Well, that's actually a pretty good deal. Rumor has it this guard came from Liberace's Palm Springs home, and it was found in Palm Springs. They've got $189 on it. You could probably find some old picture of the house and see if that matched, and I'll bet it would. Now, these are really cool, and you see they're willing to separate. 2 chairs for $250, 2 chairs and a table for $3, or you can get the whole thing, but I love these colors, and I really like the cutouts on the back, and the condition looks really good. There's a little bit of surface rust near the bottom, but they're not rusted through, which is the important part. So that is actually not a terrible price at all for those. Okay, here's a ship's wheel. I have not sold mine, and I think it might be because maybe I'm charging more than these folks are. Yeah, see, they've got $165. I'm asking $2 1/4, but mine's a little larger, so probably about comparable. Pyrex, there's a dealer with a ton of Pyrex inside. And then here's a bunch of really cool 50s aluminum ware, die cabinets and little parts cabinets and all the stuff that people are really loving and wanting to buy these days. And of course, glass fishing floats, which are fun to decorate with. So they've got a really fun display. And this is quite a bargain here. This is Hearts and Flowers by Johnson Brothers. And they have enough for you to do an entire set. And look at the prices, $45 for the whole thing, or open stock. It's a great deal. Liking the fish and the partridge on those trays. This is a fun metal sculpture here. Definitely has a brutalist feel. It doesn't have a signature that I can see. She's got baggage, vintage and more. Hi there, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, and so tell me a little about what you've got, and are you from this area, or are you?
I am from this area.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, the reason I called myself She's Got Baggage, because I sell vintage purses.
Yes.
And I actually sold a bunch of them.
I bet. I was going to say, because I looked and I thought, oh, she's probably got vintage purses and baggage. And I'm looking and I don't see any. So you've had a good show.
Yeah, I think I had like 8 here and I'm down to 3.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, but then I've sold a lot of furniture too.
That's great. You know, this is the nice thing about having the flea market out here is that you guys have room for furniture and some of the big things that people were asking for inside that there wasn't space to show. I like the cedar chest very much. That's handsome. And gosh, your prices seem really good. I mean,
they are really good. I mean, I had like 2 little living areas.
Yes.
I had like the rattan, one area, and they bought all 3 pieces.
Oh, that's great.
Had some other like.
Hey, George.
Hello.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. Sold some 80s furniture. I'm kind of doing period.
I like these stools. I used to have the bar they would have looked great with, but I don't have that anymore, unfortunately. I love the owls that you see down the aisle there. So you definitely get a different kind of vibe here than you do indoors at the show. Eclectic and funky and a mix of things, but that seems to be what a lot of people are liking now, which suits me fine because I like all sorts of different things too. Okay, so our next aisle here, this is a lot of vintage clothing. We have everything from leather pants and vests to Dickies. And this is Yellowstone's Dutton's Duds. Well, you get the idea just from seeing that sign. They also have these really cool Norwegian or Swedish circus signs that I think are just a lot of fun. So lots of vintage fashion, which is great because this is something that appeals to a lot of younger people, and it's the gateway that takes them into collecting small pieces of housewares as well, because they come for this and then they see all the other cool stuff and they get excited. And I have to say, I'm excited to see it. This is a cute little brass piece here. We're seeing a lot of brass coming back into the market, but this one is a little oil lamp, a mineral oil lamp from France. Now they do have antique shows at the Portland Antique Auto Swap Meet too. At least they did in the past. I assume they're still doing that. That's something to look into. Nice Pendleton piece. We haven't seen a lot of Pendleton here. The McLean tartan is very nice. This space has a really groovy lamp, one of these oak hanging lamps from the late 70s. And how much do these run these days? Well, this one is priced at $175, and that seems about right. It's interesting because The outdoor show here in Portland reminds me of things like the Fleur de Flis in Louisville, Kentucky, where you have a lot of people who are doing they're doing interiors, but they're doing it with old stuff, and they're doing it very imaginatively. And so you'll have everything from 70s mushroom canisters all the way to an antique turnlock case purse, which if this was just a little bit better, I'd be buying that at that price. It could be repaired, and that's a wonderful piece for the price. And that's the point of this, is that in addition to a lot of really great retail dealers with really hardcore collector stuff, there's folks out here that have some things that are just fun that you could just afford to buy and take to your house. It's getting pretty hot, so they're starting to put flaps down and things because we are getting close to the end of the show. Wow, well, so this is the Left Coast Flea portion of the expo. And I'm very excited that it's done well, because this really does add a dimension to this show. And I think that we're going to see these folks back. Maybe we'll even see this lovely Haywood Wakefield set come back. The typewriter dealer was here again with a bunch of new old typewriters, and they did a lecture on them. They're starting to do little vignettes and little lectures and space-side chats, and it's a great idea because you can learn a lot about areas of collecting you might never have thought of before. Look at that beautiful die cabinet. And I, of course, love these tiled tables from Mexico and California from the 20s and 30s. $2.50 a piece, pretty good price on those. These folks have really fun stuff and a lot of things that glow, including this Buzz Williams Amberina glow vase. Signed, it's $125, a very pretty piece. I'm a big fan of shaving mirrors anyway, but this one is really, really something with all of this beautiful floral inlay. This is going to be late 1800s with the candle stand so that you could see what you're doing and not nick yourself in the early morning hours. Jerry Cook is here, and he has amazing things as always. I really like the cider jug in the middle, the painted piece there. These folks just have a really fun look about what they're doing. It's got a little bit of lab and oddity feel to it. Hey everybody, look at that beautiful 1890s American oak hall tree with all the carving. That is just gorgeous. They even had to sell space by the grill for the first time, so they are definitely filling up more. These folks are half price today. Look at that lovely chest of drawers.
And then the little guys, you know.
These folks have beautiful things as always. But we have a lot of vendors who have not sold here before too. So if I get a chance to break away, I'm going to try to focus on some people that we have never shown you, because there are a whole bunch of people joining us for the first time to do this show. And they all seem to be doing well. That guy seems to be doing okay too. That's Vanderohe, of course it is, yeah.
Or no.
Or no, for Noel, yeah. Beautiful piece. I'm going to try to give you some passing glimpses of other booths in case I don't get out and film some more, but I am taking a chair back to where it goes. These folks have a fantastic flatware and silver display, a wonderful paper dealer, and look at the old Pacific Northern Airlines and Alaska Airlines. And it's not just me. I mean, this show is really bringing out a crowd now. It's becoming established, and it seems like it is going to really thrive and succeed, and we're very excited. So the reason there isn't going to be more film from this place is because this is what it's been like all weekend. It's wonderful, but there are so many people. It's just great to see the crowds back here. But I'm getting about 10 seconds of filming between answering questions. Because of that, I'm going to show you what's left in the booth. I'm afraid you missed out on some really wonderful things. There was an incredible nude French spelter lamp that was 4 feet high with ginkgo leaves. She was right there, she sold. I do still have the Devil's Head vase prototype though, along with the Seguso and this very nice tall Blanco piece I got recently. This is an iColt and has the signature. People are pretty crazy for that particular studio designer. This little kitty cat is Murano, and this is actually a Barbini Murano piece. And then this is Sasha Brostov. It is one of his resin animals. You can see the Sasha B mark vaguely there. It's the resin bear. You do not see a ton of the resin animals, and they are rather collectible. Down here, I recently picked up the trash can with the anthurium on it, and the Don Drum casserole piece there is really cool in the brutalistic modern. I think with the whole booth full of typewriters, I may not sell my typewriter today, but mine's a great deal, so maybe the typewriter guy will need one if he sells out. The Roseville pitcher is mock orange. That's a very unusual pattern. Wally Walrus, you might recognize him from the Walter Lantz stuff. There's the Walter Lantz production mark on the bottom. These were done in Japan for Walter Lantz in the late 50s when the cartoons were so popular. So we have a young lady from China who's looking at a bunch of very expensive costume jewelry. I have some nice Koro sets there. I'm going to just show you those. The horses and the birds. And then I'm going to let her keep looking. I just got the pincushion girl on the drive here along with the Fenton lime custard vase that does glow under a black light. I sold the Fenton shoe yesterday for $30 in the yellow that glows under a black light. The bathing beauties, I sold a couple of these yesterday. This one is particularly unusual in the little surfboard there. And then if you come around to the other side here, we've got Cozy Kitty in the cottage cheese. And then we have the other Japanese similar era with the Jam and Jelly Chef. Well, we are just getting rated. I had 2 stained glass panels. One of them is sold. It was right there. The lady with the cat's eyes is still available. We sold one of the 2 phones. We had an interest in the Canadian National Railway spittoon, which was such an oddball thing that I bought that I was glad that somebody at least noticed it and liked it. It's still here though. The ship's wheel and the paddle. A lot of interest in the ship's wheel. Did sell some of the sailboat. I just got this big collection of sailboat. I've still got the cocktail shaker and some of the glasses and the tray, which are hard to find, but I did sell several of the other style cocktail glasses and a couple of other good pieces, so that's been popular here. Neat little Kurok piece. Various colored glass. I mean, I've sold several of the Viking figures. The cat just sold. I sold 1 each of these 2 figures you see here. I've got 1 each left. Some Seattle World's Fair glasses, but it has just been crazy. So many things are gone. I sold 2/3 of the Sasha Bra stuff I brought. I've got these 3 pieces left. All of the jadeite sold except the 2 maple leaves. The red tray almost sold, except I left the price tag from the estate sale on it. That was a mistake. They would have liked to have had it for less, and that's my fault. Flight manual. This one's from a Boeing. And that's the reason that I brought it, because if it doesn't sell here, it'll sell in Seattle. The radio, the Red Wing Chef, this wonderful music stand. It's from the 20th century, but it's nice and it's adjustable and it's got all those different features you need. A lot of Holt Howard in the rooster department, the Coq Rouge. I still have that, and that's actually great because all that stuff sells really well for me in other places. The Budweiser sign, I was not able to plug this in and have it really show, but it is a really great piece and it works, and they sell for oftentimes over $1,000. So we'll get that into a store where it can be shown properly, along with the gum machine. And then my friend Kat sold a bunch of stuff this weekend with me too, and was so much help in the booth. I'm so grateful. She has a few things that are interesting to show just for fun. These, if you notice, they have a little Pegasus on the top because these were something you could get from Mobil Oil. They were made by Carter Hoffman, and they were done as a premium for them. They also have these little bowls, and look there, Fremont Farm, but there's Pegasus on top again. I like the double piggy bank with the hand painting. This looks like a 70s Japanese thing, but the double is kind of a neat thing. You can save for short term and long term. I can't believe she still has these great Tudor pottery pieces with the California bear on them. Or that she's got these 2 Empoli bottles, because her prices were good, only in the $150, $165 range, and people are pretty crazy for these right now. But you know, it all just depends. I mean, we sold a whole ton of stuff. It was just different stuff. She sold a nice pair of spurs too. I think she's pretty smart to bring Western to this because it definitely does do well here. McCoy Blossom Time, what little I have left, along with a lot of cute little skiers and tobogganers. And a little Swarovski cat hiding back there. So on this side of the booth, we have the 2 Ewers. and 2 of the Sophisticats made it. The Fenton Black Rosecrest vase, that is still here, but we sold a bunch of the shoes, actually.
I did find, look at these boots I found, George.
Oh my gosh, those are great. Are those mucklucks?
Yeah.
Oh, those are awesome. They're so hairy. I love them.
I've been wanting some of these for so long.
You're getting the Pilgrim decanter. That's
Yeah.
great. I'm going to
And
go
the
ahead and
cat.
take this lid off and wrap that separately just for, and the skinny tall kitty cat. Some studio in Mississippi made those, and I can't
have-
find the label.
I have two.
Thank you.
I have 2 cats that are the tuxedo cats.
It's been so much fun. I have met so many viewers. It's been.
We have a white Ford.
And speaking of whom, well, there she is right now. Hello there.
Hello.
It's so great that you came up. Are you having fun?
I'm admiring your kitty.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I love the kitties. Yes.
Having such a good time.
I'm so glad. Isn't it fun? Yeah, the people are really nice, and there's just great stuff here, isn't there?
It's all my kind of stuff.
Yeah,
My vibe.
exactly.
And it's colorful and it's fun and lots of glass and pottery. It's just really good.
Oh, I'm so glad you're having fun. It's so good to see you here.
It's great to see you.
I thank you.
It's always a pleasure to see Joy.
Aw, well, I feel the same way about you, so come up every time, please.
I will. It's
It's kind of worth it, isn't it? I mean, I know it's a drive, a couple days, but
my family lives close by. It's a good excuse to come up here.
excellent. Exactly, yeah. And in summer, I mean, it's the time to be in the Northwest, so
Oh, it's beautiful.
isn't it? Yeah. Oh, you came up the coast?
And it was
Oh,
perfect.
it's
Perfect time.
breathtaking this time of year. All the miniature cloisonne sold. The big piece is still with me, but it's a beaut, so it'll find a home soon, I'm sure. This highly carved Chinese piece almost sold. Hello there.
How are you?
Good, how are you doing? Before Funko Pops were a thing, Funko started in the 90s making things like the Wacky Wobbler Pez. You don't really see these very often anymore, and they sell for about $25 or $30 a piece. And because it was the first thing they made and they're retired, that's the reason I have them. I wouldn't bring them if they were still making them because you could just go buy them new, and why would they be at an antique show? My mother's cat sold really well. A lot of her collection is gone. It went to people who were really going to enjoy it, and I'm very happy. I have a few left, those 2 from the 40s that are cute, these lampwork pieces here. And then there's this guy. He looks like Austrian bronze. We're not sure who made him. He's not bronze exactly, but he has that look from about 1910, and he's carrying 3 different bird cages. I think he's just an amazing piece. I wish I could find out a little more about him. If someone out there has had experience with these, please let me know in the comments. I did go ahead and bring the white garden cart. I think it's a great piece. Someone outside has the same exact one. That happens sometimes at a show. And for that reason, I'll be taking mine to the Antique Mall in Seattle. There's a really pretty Owens vase here. Owens was competing with Roseville and Weller, and this one has the Owens mark on the bottom. They don't often. This is the era where they're all doing artware and they're all very nice, and if they liked a designer it seemed to do well, then they would hire the decorators from each other's plants. At the end of the day, they'd offer them a little bit more money, and then the next thing you know, your competitor's doing almost the same design. So that's why the Owens, Roseville, and Weller of this era really mixes and matches well. And it's all, gosh, 120 years old now. This one's priced at $165. The Rose City Vintage Market has been so fun and so busy. Couldn't leave the booth all day yesterday, and it was one of the busiest sales days I've ever had in my career. It was amazing. I'm just going to quickly show you a few of the neighbors' booths, what I can, because there's just no real time, but I really think this is fun with these polka dotted tiles. Yes, there are some really wonderful high-end dealers who deal in true antiques and some really lovely things, but what I thought would be interesting to show is this before and after restoration. People ask me a lot of times if it's worth having a piece restored. Well, it's expensive, but you can see what an amazing job a good restorer like these folks can do. So if you have something that's worth your while to do, it is absolutely worth having it done professionally. This is a really fun space here. I like the War Bond Drive for Camp Adair. These folks have an amazing display of cocktail shakers. everything there. The Bell is a cocktail shaker. They've got the my personal favorite that's in my collection, the Pink Elephants by Cambridge. They've got West Virginia glass. They have really great shakers. They have colors that are hard to find, like the ruby. I really like this one with the ships, flags, and pennants. This one with the timepieces is interesting. They've just got a lot of really great stuff. It is a very fun area to collect. I've always liked collecting barware. I'm not really much of a drinker, but I just really enjoy having it around when people come over. And I'm not the only one. And look at the fabulous trophies. The Western Air Express trophy from the 1920s when they were just starting to fly the airmail. You have a golfer from back in the Babe Zaharis days. Swimmers. I guess this is a gymnast. I like these salmon bookends. Those are really fun, very Northwestern, $65. I really like the Roseville Cherry Blossom. I don't see this particular design very often. The Weller Apple at $46 seems like a good price. It is not just a modernist show. Modernism really started around the turn of the century with the arts and crafts movement of the last century. This little Mission Settle bench is an example of that. But also, we find that primitives, this woven piece here, there is interest in some of these kind of things because they really break up a room full of modernism and give you something like this is made of hickory. And it gives you a contrast in visuals as well as in styles and eras. And sometimes that can be a welcome relief in a place that's really, really angular. Big burl wood. I haven't seen a lot of the burl. This was so popular in Oregon back in the day, but it's become very popular again. A lot of it's gone back into collections. Let's be friends. These great brass top tables, with everybody getting into brass now, they are definitely sellers again, and you're seeing them priced in the $100 to $300 range. So I was just outside and I was shopping her booth and she was shopping mine. So tell me who you are and where you're from and what you sell.
All right. Hello. I'm Tara Murphy. I live here in Portland, Oregon, and I have Ain't That Some Thrift. It's my new vintage venture.
That's so cool. I'm excited for you. And did you say this is the first time you've done a show?
It is. I have done like some little things here and there, but like a proper show like this is my first time.
Oh, that's great. I hope it went well for you.
It did. It really did. I met a lot of great people and learned a lot, and I got to meet you.
I'm so glad to meet you too. This is really fun. Well, thank you for coming in. I'm just so excited. We're loving having new folks, new blood in the business, and new people to bring cool things to all of our collectors. So thank you for being here.
For sure. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, me too. Well, it is certainly a lot cooler back in here with the air conditioning, I have to admit. This place is just so full of really great stuff this time. I wish I had time to show you more. There is so much here and just so many people. It was so much fun. Hopefully I'll get to film more next time. So many beautiful spaces. Old West Coast Lighting Company has a bunch of great lamps that are all redone, so you can just use them in your home. It's just, the whole show, the whole experience has just been really great. Wow, this has been such a great show, so much fun. I had one of the busiest days yesterday I've ever had at a show in my career. It was definitely in the top 3. So, gosh, Portland has been a lot of fun as usual.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.